All right, here we go, you guys. Welcome to our call tonight. We are so excited to have you all here with us. For those of you who don't know who I am, my name is Corey Mayo, and I am, we'll say, the mama bear of Team Living Healthy and Fit, which is the team that is doing this call tonight to share a little bit about our story and share what coaching is, and maybe help you decide if it could be a good fit for you too. Okay. So, if you have any questions along the way, please drop them on the chat if you are listening to this live. If you happen to be listening to the recording, know this, and I'm sure Kate will say it, and I'm sure I will say it again. We are open books, so don't be afraid to reach out and ask us any question that you have, you guys. Okay. I have been a coach. I actually just celebrated 10 years on Sunday. So I have been around for a long time. This is something that I absolutely love to do. It is something that is a big piece of my heart. So if you ever have any questions, we are open books and more than willing to share whatever you're needing. Okay. So I'm going to tell you a little bit about my journey to kind of start this call off. I am a mom to two little boys. I am a wife to my husband, Paul. We have been together for 17 years and we'll celebrate being married for 13 years next month. And I am someone who always struggled with body image, leading a healthier, happier lifestyle. I grew up in a household that it was very much canned vegetables, some sort of a meat and potatoes. Like that was our go-to. My mom didn't really cook, so it was pretty much just you threw something on the plate and you always had some sort of a carb, a meat, and it was always canned vegetables, like in the bowl in the microwave type of meals is how we lived. Because my mom was a single mom, and she worked a lot of hours. She was a nurse, and so it was always like the quick convenient things, right? And I grew up kind of watching her pick herself apart and being self-conscious about certain areas of her body. And I can remember as young as 11, like starting to like pull at my clothes and not be comfortable in some of the same areas that she wasn't comfortable. And so that continued through high school. And as I started to get older and I didn't fit in, I wasn't the popular girl. I wasn't the super thin, pretty girl. And so I kind of struggled with that. I would, I did the roller coaster of yo-yo diets, starving myself. So I wouldn't eat at all. If I did, it would just be something super, super small, because I didn't know any better, right? I thought that if I just didn't eat, then I would lose weight and then I would be the pretty, a pretty girl, a popular girl, and I would fit in. So that went all the way up until college. And even in college, I still struggled a bit here and there, with yo-yo diets. Never really found anything that worked for me because I wasn't doing anything that was sustainable. And maybe some of you can relate to that too. Like you want that. We are so much more now than when I was in high school or college, a society of instant gratification, right? We want those results right now. We want to see progress right now. So we do the extreme, thinking that we have to punish ourselves for where we are right now. Okay. So that was very much my life, that I did that roller coaster up and down where I would get really restrictive and I would lose a bunch of weight. And then I would, because that wasn't sustainable, I would revert back to old habits, put that weight on and then some. And then I would be unhappy again. And then I would get restrictive again, up and down constantly. So before I went away to college, I met my husband. Obviously, it was my boyfriend at the time. And I had actually just lost a bunch of weight. So I felt really, really good. We were going out to the bars and I felt really confident when we would go out at night. But we got super comfortable really quick and we started partying, and we would eat after going to the bar all night. And then we would go out to dinner all the time and do all those things that weren't the healthiest of habits. So I started to put weight back on again. And then we ended up getting married a couple of years later. We got pregnant with our first son shortly after we got married. And after we had our first son, I honestly was just really focused on him. I didn't take any time for myself. I was really focused on being the best mom I could be, or making sure he was taken care of made me a good mom, right? Not making sure that the house was clean and that meals were prepared and that he was taken care of. And if he was happy and everybody in the house was happy, then I was being a good wife and a good mom, right? But I wasn't doing anything to take care of me. And my husband, likewise, wasn't doing anything to take care of himself either. And so when our first son was about 18 months old, we were both at our heaviest weight ever. And he looked at me and said, like, we have to do something. And I can remember looking at our son playing on the floor by himself, and just, it like all hit me, because I would just literally come home from work. I would sit on the couch, binge watch TV, and eat food. And I just kept getting bigger and feeling more sorry for myself and doing less and less. And so I can remember looking at Keyston laying on the floor playing and thinking, this can't be it. Like, this can't be it. He deserves better and I deserve better. Like, this can't be the way that life is going to be for us. So I had a friend through my husband was playing roller hockey with this guy, and his girlfriend was a Beachbody coach. And I had kind of been watching her from afar, maybe like some of you have watched one of us or the coach that invited you to this call on social media, or maybe in real life, seeing them make this transformation. I was watching her when we would go to hockey games. I was watching her grow her confidence. She was getting more physically fit. She seemed happier. And so as I was kind of watching her, she said to me just in passing one day, like, we can work on that together in conversation. And I was like, yeah, I've done it before. I know what to do. I just need to do it. And the reality was, I really didn't know what to do, because everything I had done before was just restrictive and diet and a quick fix, right? I had never done anything that was sustainable or something that I could manage with now being a mom. So I blew her off for a couple of months, but eventually I did ask for her help, and I started. And you guys, we started P90X in November of 2011, and we lasted, I think, a week, and then I quit because I was super sore. It was hard to fit in an hour workout after Keyston went to bed. I was not a morning person. So we quit. And then a couple weeks later, we tried again, and we quit again after like a week or 10 days. It wasn't until January of 2012 that we were like, this has to be it. Like, this has to be us drawing the line in the sand and moving forward. And I am very proud to say that that is our anniversary of making that decision to show up for ourselves and keep our promise. Was January, whatever that first Monday was. I'm not going to say it was the first, because it might have been the third or the fourth, right? We'd have to go back and look at the calendar, but whatever that first Monday was day one. And that was 10 plus years ago now, because we're almost all the way through May, which is insane. The difference for me was, one, having a guided plan that was sustainable, that told me exactly what to do. So I wasn't like trying to figure it out or sift through all the stuff that's out there, because there's so many different things out there telling you to do this, do that, cut this, cut that, try this. But also having a community of women who had my back. I don't know about you guys, but like, for me in school, everybody was catty and judgmental and judged what kind of clothes you had and what kind of car you drove and what kind of, like, what your hair looked like and what kind of makeup you had and like all of those things. So I had never been a part of a community of women. I was friends with all guys because I didn't like girls. They were catty, right? Mean girls. And for the first time ever, I had this small community. It was just a little challenge group on Facebook of like 4 or 5 girls who would applaud me for showing up for myself, who were sharing their own struggles, and who were excited when I would share what I did for the day, that like literally had my back and supported me. So it allowed me to keep showing up. It was empowering to know that there was different out there. It was something I had never experienced before. So that's what kept me coming back, honestly, through the plateaus and the struggles and the hard of creating that routine of having an 18-month-old baby and working full time, and the stressors of everyday life that we all have. Um, that's what kept me coming back. And so I started to see some really great progress. And in the first 6 months, so in the first 6 months of 2012, I'm trying to keep this somewhat short because it is a very long story, you guys. It's 10 years of my life, right? Um, so in the first 6 months, I shed like 34 pounds because we did P90X, which is 180 days, and we felt so freaking good after the first 180 days. We were like, we're doing it again. I'm sorry, it was 90 days. And then we did it again for another 90 days, which was a total of 180 days. So I lost like 34 pounds. I think my husband lost like 46 or something, because guys always lose more, of course. But he lost like 46 pounds. And we felt really, really good. And we had created some lasting changes. And we felt so good that we then got pregnant with baby number 2. And that is where Mr. Beckett, known as B-Man, came into the picture. So I got pregnant with him, and he was born in March of 2013. And going back just a little bit, because I had such great success in that 180 days, my coach said to me, have you thought about coaching? Have you thought about sharing your story with others? And I was like, I've never been able to, like, yeah, I've stuck with it for 180 days, but like, that's the first time ever, right? I had never stuck with anything. And I've struggled with body image and my weight and my health my entire life. How can I coach someone else? But I was interested. She planted a seed of belief in me that I didn't know was there, and I was intrigued on what she was asking. And so I sat on it for a little bit. I'm an Emerald personality, so very type A, and I need to know all of the things before I say yes to anything. So I did a little bit of research. And unlike a fun call like this where you get to hear inspiring stories, I listened to an hour and 45-minute like webinar on what coaching is. So I guess if I was gonna watch an hour and 45 minutes, I was committed, right? I was like, okay, well, I guess I got to do this thing because I just watched that webinar. And really for me, I wanted to stay accountable. I wanted to keep going on my own journey. When I signed up to be a coach, it was to save money on Shakeology, and it was to be further plugged into the community of women who are helping to keep me on track. I really had no intentions of building a business because honestly, I really didn't understand what coaching meant, what building a business looked like, what kind of time and effort that was going to require of me at the time. So I started for me, but I quickly found that through just a couple posts here and there and sharing my success and how good I felt, how different things were, that people were like, what are you doing? Like, you're glowing, you look amazing, you look happy. Like, what are you doing? Tell me more. And it started with just a couple people, you guys. There was just a couple other moms who saw where I was and where I had grown to. And so I was just helping a couple people at a time, right? And that has evolved tremendously over time, and so much has changed. And we went from this baby little team of just me and 1 or 2 other people, and me just helping 1 or 2 people a month just to pay it forward, to this amazing tribe of women who, if you're in our wellness group, you get to know all of them. loving and supporting you and leading the groups and doing live calls and just sharing their heart and uplifting you when you're maybe struggling a little bit and celebrating the hell out of you when you take steps forward for yourself or you show up on a day because you or a day that you don't really want to, but you did it because you made a promise to yourself, right? I'm so proud of where we are today and the impact and the ripple effect that has been created and continues to go because of a yes in May of 2012. It's incredible. So I just want to share a couple of things. I'm just going to list them off because I don't want to take up too much more time. So Kate can talk with you too. I want to share a little bit about what has changed for me personally along the way. I have shed 70 pounds and kept that off for 10 years, which is still mind-boggling to me. Thank you, Mia. It is mind-boggling to me that I've stuck with it. The girl who yo-yo dieted and did this her entire life, right? That I have been able to stay on path. And you guys, it hasn't been perfect. Look, I had a pregnancy and then a baby. So then I was juggling having a newborn and a toddler. And then we moved homes. And my family went through some really difficult health issues, 3 years back to back, 17, 18, and 19. Like bam, bam, bam. And then COVID hit in 20. So like literally 4 years of stress. And I've kept on track. Not perfect, but I've just kept moving forward and doing my best each day. And it is a 100% because of this community, because of you guys. So I lead a healthier lifestyle. I'm leading by example for my children. We have healthier habits as a family because we've kept on track, right? All of that has changed. It's such a ripple effect. Even my parents, like it's more than just me and my immediate family and my household. It has been a ripple effect to those around us. Positive mindset, that mean girl syndrome. I don't love to admit it, but I used to be a mean girl or judgmental because I felt so inferior. I was so self-conscious about myself. I was very judgmental, gossipy, talking about everybody behind their back to make myself feel better because I felt so low. I didn't know that's what it was at the time, right? Until I started unpacking my limiting beliefs and doing some personal growth and development. But now sometimes I'm known as the one that's a little overly optimistic because I like to try and see the silver lining in every situation, right? I don't want to live life in a sad place or hanging on to the hard. I want to look to see where the opportunity of growth is, where I can grow forward and move forward and see the good, right? So positive mindset, not knowing it at all. Wow, I didn't think I was going to cry through this part. I found my purpose. I found my purpose. I found something that brings me such joy. And you guys, when I tell you, and some of you have heard this before, if I tell you that I would still get up and do this every single day, even if the money went away, I'm telling you, I would still do this every single day because I love being that light for others. I love leaving people in a better place than where I found them. I selfishly love getting to be front row seat of seeing someone tap into their true potential. Like there aren't many things better than that. When you experience that for the first time, it is beyond amazing that because you pointed out and had a little belief in them, that they have grown and blossomed into this amazing person. They stepped into who they were supposed to be. So I have found my purpose, and friendship, the community, the piece that has kept me here, kept me grounded, uplifted me when I needed to be uplifted. I am so blessed that our tribe are some of my closest friends. I get to work with some of the most inspiring, empowering women every single day, you guys. Not everybody gets that, right? But as coaches, we get to do that. So a lot more has changed. A lot has blossomed and grown, but those are the things that for me are the most important, and the things that make me excited about what we do as coaches. So I am going to pass it off to our rock star, Caitlin Kamer, who many of you have been following and already know. She is incredible. I'm not going to tell too much of her story. But Kate and I met in college, and we were essentially acquaintances. And if it were not for coaching and Facebook, we never would have reconnected, because she was down in Mississippi, I'm here in Ohio, and we didn't have the same circle of friends. But because she had just had a baby and we are friends on Facebook, and I remembered her from college, a simple good morning, how are you message has brought us to where we are today. Think about that. And now she's one of my best friends, like someone who I literally talk to on a daily basis, who comes and stays with my family and I, and Eve, cousin Auntie Chloe, and she is one of my little bears, and we're super, super close, you guys, and we get to do this together. So without further ado, I'm going to mute myself and let you take over, my dear.
Hello, Kate Kamer here. You are going to have to bear with me because I have Dino Dana on in the background, and I have a 4-year-old who probably should be going to bed, sitting here like her eyes are falling out of her head on my bed. So let's get started. So I honestly did not prepare at all for this. I'm winging it because it's just been a day. As far as my story goes, it is so convoluted. I very much grew up with all of the just insecurities and all of the self-doubt, and I struggled with weight. I struggled with eating. I remember being 10 years old and asking my mom to like take me to Weight Watchers. Like I, at a very young age, was very aware of the fact that I didn't feel like I fit in because of my body. So, and all of that stuff just kind of, followed me into adulthood. I think there was always just a little part of me that was like, okay, like you're not skinny enough, or you're not toned enough, or you need to look like this, you need to look like that. Like I mean, the comparison game was real. And I would do, and I very much did a lot of what I think a lot of us women do with like the yo-yo dieting. I would have seasons where I would diet and lose weight, and I would feel very validated in that weight loss. The scale, those 3 digits on the scale always just ruled everything when it came to how you were doing in terms of health. And I would do terrible things sometimes to lose weight. Like I struggled with like starvation and, just insane. I don't know. I remember doing like all of the juice diets. Like I think back to all the things that, man, like I remember doing like 4-day fasts where all I would drink is like water. Like, just crazy stuff, just stuff that wasn't sustainable or attainable or anything that you do in real life. And really all it was doing was hurting me. But, the scale would go down. So I was like, okay. So that was me in a nutshell. I was a mess. As far as Beachbody goes, honestly, it was first introduced to me by my boyfriend at the time. P90X, just like what Corey did. This was, 12 years ago. I don't know. Time's a funny thing for me nowadays. Probably like, no, it's like 11 or 12 years ago, I guess. And never completed a program, never did any of that stuff. Like I would do the workouts on and off. I very much lived the loop with those workout programs, the same as I did with anything else. And then my relationship with him, like we continued on, we, moved in together, did the whole marriage thing, all of that, everything, like my mindset, everything that I dealt with as far as the way that I looked at myself and the way that I needed to act in order to lose that. I was always losing weight. My life was ruled by food and ruled by weight. Like it's insane to me looking back at it, like how trapped you can feel in that. Um, and so as far as like the actual coaching part goes with Beachbody, um, I did have a coach for a little bit before Corey, and it was the same thing. I was living that loop, living that spiral mindset type thing. So that never fell through. That fell through because I just could not. I was always trying to skip all the steps. I was always laser focused on all of the wrong things, and then beating the shit out of myself for failing at focusing on all the wrong things. So when Corey reached out to me, it was when I had my daughter, which she is 4 now. I had, just to kind of give you a timeline as far as she's concerned, we got married. I lost 60 pounds leading up to my wedding in like maybe less than 3 months, just by restricting calories. I'm talking like maybe 800 to maybe less a day calorie wise. So I dropped all this weight for my wedding and then proceeded to gain back all of it within about 3 months, got pregnant right around that time, and then just steadily continued to gain weight. And I dealt with all sorts of like crazy inflammation issues, all kinds of things while I was pregnant. Towards the end, she actually ended up being an emergency C-section because of that. And had her health just continued to rise. Like I am 5'2". I think, I don't remember what my heaviest weight was, but I know the heaviest I saw on the scale was probably like 230 some pounds. So when Corey reached out to me, I was a mess. I had all of this stuff, that I'd grown up with that had just led with me into life. And then I was drowning in my marriage. I was drowning in that relationship for other reasons. I was home with my daughter, which had been something that I had not planned to do. We literally were left home with her at literally the 12th hour. Our daycare situation fell through. And so I just remember, and I loved being home with her. I'm very grateful that we were able to do that in hindsight. I would not have done that differently. But I just was I lived down south. I was very far from friends, very far from family. My marriage was not going well. So there wasn't a lot of support as far as that goes. And so I was just really fucking lonely. I'm talking, it was great when I had my daughter. We had this little bubble. I know I said a bad word. I'm sorry. Okay. I am on a call. Can we pause the conversation? Thank you. Okay, sorry. Where was I? Oh, so I just she and I had this little world together, and that was great. But then I was one of those moms, I would put her to bed and then I would just cry in the shower. I was in a very, very dark place, mentally, physically. Just, yeah, I don't even know if you can call it rock bottom. There's probably a lower point than that. That's what that felt like at the time. I just felt completely and utterly hopeless. And so Corey reaching out to me with that message was just kind of well, honestly, it wasn't an epiphany when she reached out to me. I was frankly probably just annoyed. What do you want? Please go leave me alone. I am not emotionally available. But she and I kept chatting and things like that. And for me, it was a bit opposite. Fast forwarding to the actual coach part, it was a bit opposite of what Corey did. So Corey had amazing results with the programs, and then she started coaching. For me, I was very unhappy with how life was going. There are details about so much of that I won't get into tonight, just because I've talked about on other calls. But for me, looking at coaching, it was very much going to be it just felt like a key to get out of the craziness that I was in when it came to my health, when it came to my living situation, when it came to my relationship, when it came to finally being the mom I wanted to be for my daughter. Coaching was going to be that for me. And I was insecure, introverted, didn't really know anything about social media as far as any of that stuff goes. I had no accolades to be oh yeah, I'll be great at this. Nothing. And so, and honestly, to be perfectly transparent with you, I attempted coaching, I think twice with Corey, and fell off with it, because of mindset, because again, here I was skipping steps still. So I don't know. I wasn't going to get emotional, and then you got emotional and you kind of got me going. And so now I'm going to like not make eye contact with you. Uh, but so I essentially had like a rock bottom moment, like in the middle of COVID. Like life was such a complete and utter insane time then that COVID was a nice distraction, which I know saying that sounds awful because COVID has been terrible for so many people. But for me in my situation, it was a good distraction. Anyway, I had a rock bottom moment. I packed up my daughter and I left my house for like 3 weeks, and I came up to my parents' house, and I don't know, I just had decided, that was in May. That was at the end of May in 2020. And then I was just like, I've had enough. I'm changing my health. I'm getting my shit figured out. And I don't know, like I probably had like an existential crisis because I literally like flipped a switch in my head. It was like, man, I don't know why I'm just constantly stressed and frustrated with myself because of my weight. Like I'm allowed to be beautiful and weigh 230 pounds. Like I literally had an existential crisis. I was sitting on my back porch underneath our maple tree. And I'm like, screw this. I'm going to love myself and I'm going to move forward with this. And texted Corey or called her or whatever and was like, hey, I'm doing this. And then July of 2020, just running. Yeah, the bikini picture day. It was. I literally put on a yellow polka dot bikini and took pictures of myself outside. Like I was just like, I am doing this. Like I am going to be my own advocate and my own cheerleader and all the things. I was like, I felt like I had no one when it came to like my tiny little inner circle within that whole situation. So it was like, I'm going to do this for me. And so I just took it a day at a time, and I leaned in when things got challenging, and things definitely got challenging. I ended up asking for a divorce. I have been navigating that all of this past year. That's why you're sitting here seeing Dino Dana on in the background, because it's just me navigating all of this, and it's just crazy. But I don't know. As far as like, that's such like a tiny little part of everything. As far as like changes that have happened, I mean, that's just overwhelming. Because in so many ways, I have yet to really come to terms with all the changes that I have experienced. I mean, I've lost like 110 pounds. I mentally am not the same person. Like it's not even, there's no comparison. I used to see the world in such a dark, just fog all the time. I was constantly interpreting the way that people would speak to me negatively. I had this negative internal voice in my head. I mean, it was just toxic. It bled into everything. You know, I just was really unhappy with life and trying so hard to just fit into this little tiny box that was like, hey, like you just need to do these things. Like you need to meet the guy. And if things aren't going that great, then just work on it more and get the house while you're at it. Have a child while you're at it. You know, like all of these things. And it was exhausting. And that's part of why my divorce happened, is because I finally got to a point where I was able to start, can you not? I was finally to a point where I felt confident enough to be like, hey, like, this is how I feel. And I would really love to be able to communicate all this stuff with you. And that, you know, I was a different person. I was able to set boundaries and ask for things that I wanted. And I guess what I do know is that without Beachbody, like, I don't know where my life would be today. I am scared to think what life would be like, because I think back to that woman that was so stuck. Like I look at, you know, like how like with an iPhone you can take like the live photos, and I think of like I would take like before pictures on my phone, and they're still like considered a live photo. Like you can click on it and you get like that whatever, you know, few second like movement, and like, man, the expression on that woman's face, I don't know her. Like I don't know her. She saved my fucking life and I don't know her. And like what Corey said, when it comes to this community, like I am not, if you are listening to this now or you're watching the recording, I am not kidding you when I tell you that if you are willing to lean in and grow, I mean, these people are family. Like I know without a shadow of a doubt that I could call up Corey Mayo and she would drop what she needs to do and come to my rescue if I needed it. And there's something to be said when, I'm sorry, hold on. No need to have a meltdown. It's not worth it. Take a breath. She spilled her smoothie, guys. Sorry. Floor is tough, apparently. So I think there's something to be said too when you are constantly in a community, regardless of what it would be, but when you're constantly surrounded by people who are just leveling up, not like in business necessarily. I mean, yes, like we strive to level up in business, of course, but like just in life in general, you know, wanting to be a better person, wanting to be open-minded, you know, wanting to grow, wanting to like ride that slight edge up. There is something to be said. You subconsciously start to do it all by yourself. And you don't even know you're doing it. And then all of a sudden you look back and you're doing all these things that like previous versions of you would have just said, you know, fuck this. And all of a sudden it's like, oh yeah, like I'm listening to personal development on my way to work or in the shower, or, you know, I'm just like saying nice things to random people that I don't know just because it's nice. Like Corey hit the nail on the head, that whole like selfish like feeling of like being nice to people. That's a real thing. Maybe that's what we are, is we're just really, really selfish people. But I don't know, I literally don't know what I would do without this community. And I don't know, I'm just forever grateful. And the thing is, it just only continues to get better. Like I remember when it was just Corey and I, you know, and she talked about the team growing now, and like literally every day, like, you know, we have that new program that's rolling out May 24th. We're about to invite all these, like, there's people waiting to jump on with us on that date. And it's like, it's just gonna be that much better because like it's literally the more the merrier. And I don't know, it is the most amazing thing about my life when it comes to fulfillment and purpose. And it is something that I never knew even existed. And there's no way that I could ever live without it. So I don't know, coming from somebody who never would have thought they could have ever been a coach. So that is all I've got. And yeah, I'll let Corey take it back over. I think she's going to give you guys some details.
Okay, well, thank you for talking a little bit longer because I started to tear up and I'm like, oh, now she's gonna make me talk. So when I said like watching someone blossom, you guys, like so freaking proud of this girl. Like not just because she's grown an incredibly successful business and created her own ripple effect with her girls that have followed her and her family and friends, but that girl that saved her that she was talking about has always been there. She's always been that girl. She just didn't let her shine because she kept having all those limiting beliefs and toxic thought and sayings in her environment hold her back. So super proud of you. You already know that, but super freaking proud of you. Okay, so we're gonna briefly talk about what coaching really is, right? Because that's why you're here. Maybe you're here to listen to the inspiring stories or the playback to hear the inspiring stories. I hope that you connected with something and it filled your cup a bit. But what we want to share with you is this opportunity that has completely changed our lives, you guys. This is something that with the community, with the growth, with the habits that they teach us to practice each day, we have created the lives that we get to live right now. So we want to share that opportunity with you to help you decide, because we aren't here to pressure you or tell you that this is for you, because we understand that this may not be for everyone. And you guys, I'm going to be 100% honest with you. This isn't easy. You have to work through the ish that's held you back. Just like when you start a nutrition and fitness journey, it's not just like, oh, I'm going to start this plan and then all of a sudden all the stars align and everything's perfect, right? You have to learn to ebb and flow with life through just different seasons and different challenges. And you have to overcome limiting beliefs that have held you where you are now to allow yourself to grow. Coaching is the same. We have to be willing to learn and grow forward. The cool thing is it's fun to do that, right? It might be challenging at times, but it's fun as you grow and you create that change for yourself, right? And you're surrounded by those people who are constantly leveling up and growing and inspiring and helping to lift you up too. Okay. So, what do we do as coaches? The first thing that we do, first and foremost, is we focus on us. We take care of us first because we are no good to anyone when our cup is empty. Okay. Not only just in your coaching business, but to your family, to your friends, to your kiddos. You guys, we have to learn to take care of us first. So that is the first thing. We are practicing proper nutrition or working on making healthier choices. None of us are perfect. Okay. So I don't want you to think that you have to have it all figured out just because you're considering becoming a coach. Okay. We're still human. We still have different seasons of life. We still like to enjoy. And sure, there's going to be seasons that we're a little bit more dialed in, right? So we focus on our nutrition. We work on following a workout program, moving our bodies and honoring our bodies and following something that aligns with us. We're all so different. Okay. We practice personal development to grow our mindset. Okay. To do that work to overcome those limiting beliefs. So we do those things first. And then as we progress through our journey, we share that on social media. We share that when our family and friends ask us in person, what are you doing? You seem happier. What are you doing? And not in a salesy sort of way, like, oh, well, I do this program, so you should do this program too, and blah, blah, blah. Just talk about what's working for you, that you have these new tools that are helping you to create better habits. Okay. So we practice our own habits and working on our own journey. We share that with those around us. We invite our friends and family to join us, okay, to do this with us. And again, I know a lot of people have the hesitation, and even myself, that we don't want to be a salesperson, right? We don't want to sell people. You guys, I want you to think about this. I was listening to a podcast one day, and I've talked about this in our team calls, that you're selling every single day. Sometimes you're bribing your husband or your spouse because you want something. So you're selling whatever you want, and this is what he's going to get, or your kids because you want them to eat their vegetables. So you're selling them on what they get if they do what you need. If you find a pair of jeans that you love, you're telling your girlfriends how they fit, where you got them from, and giving them that experience, right? This is no different. This is no different because you're sharing something that you're using that's working for you and that has the potential to create a ripple effect in those around you, that has the potential to impact and make massive life changing shifts for those around you. Okay. And I want you to think about that. So we share it with our friends and family. And if we can help them and be a light for them and help provide those resources to them, then we're here to help, right? Okay, so that's what we do. Another question you might be thinking is, how much time do I have to put in? And you guys, that all depends on what your goals are. I know that for me, when I first started, it was more about me and just saving money on Shakeology. So if you're kind of in that boat and you just want to help a couple people here and there, you don't have to invest a ton of time. It's going to look different for everyone depending on what your goals are. But if you're looking to create some income on the side or even potentially replace your full-time income, as you grow your business, because this is not a get rich quick scheme. This is not something that happens overnight, and there is no guaranteed success, you guys. We grow our business and we grow our income and the success that we have by the number of lives we impact. The more people we inspire and help, the more people we uplift, the more people we help get results, not just sell them a product, but we serve them, we help them, just like your coach does for you, and give that love and support, the more success you create in this business. And that's the beautiful thing. Your income is a direct reflection of the impact that you're making around you. So as your mission grows, as your impact grows, your income will organically grow as well. Okay. And then the last thing is you get us. This business is not hard in the sense of what we do on a daily basis, but it is totally different than a traditional 9-to-5 corporate job or what most people are used to. So it can be a little bit different to wrap your head around. But the good thing is I've been doing it for 10 years. Kate's been doing it for 3.5, 3-ish years consistently, almost. And the other girls on the team have also been working on creating their consistency and their momentum and what works for them. This looks different for everyone because everyone's schedules and goals are different. And you get to decide. You tell us what you want to work towards, or we can help you identify that. And then we work to create that rhythm for you. What works for you? Okay. So we are so excited that you are all here. If you have any questions, please let one of us know, or the coach who invited you to this call. Ask them any questions that you may have. We look forward to inviting you all. Hopefully you guys will get enrolled with us on May 24th, like Kate was talking about, and we're going to kick off a whole new group with fire and flow and creating consistency while still enjoying our summer for the whole month of June. And when you sign up as a coach, you guys get all of us. And I want you to remember that you get all of us to have your back and to help you along the way. So we hope you have a great rest of your week. Thank you so much for being on the call. We'll talk with you soon.